Hi guys, it's Denny from Angel Handmade Papercraft. I've created a card today using the images that I coloured up a few days ago on video. I'm using distress inks to create a space background. I'm using black salt, picked raspberry, squeezed lemonade, chipped sapphire, faded jeans, and I'm using a mini distress ink blender. I'm just blending it onto the cardstock just wherever. There's no reason or anything to the way that I'm doing it. I've never done it before, so this is actually my first try of doing a space background. So hopefully I've done a pretty good job. I'm actually quite happy with it myself, with the end result. The cardstock that I'm using today, it isn't a watercolor cardstock. It's just a cardstock called Mondi Color Copy. It's a 250 GSM cardstock. So it does have kind of a shiny surface, which does allow it to move around a little bit, but it's not the best for blending, but it didn't really matter on this card. So as I said, I am using all the mini distress inks here. It doesn't matter if you've got the full size ones. I'm just don't have a lot of room, so I decided to purchase all of the small sets when they first came out, and I quite love them. They do what I need them to do. As you can see here, I'm just starting to finish up now with the black soot, and as you can see, I am rubbing quite hard to get them to blend a little bit. I'm now grabbing a little distress sprayer and just spraying it into my hand and flicking it all over my card. Using a little bit of paper towel to dry up that water, which allows the splash effect. Adding a little bit more, didn't quite get the effect that I was after. And I'm just dropping big droplets on just to give it a little bit of effect there. Patting it all dry. Now I'm using some paint from Papercraft. It's just called Color. I've had it for years. Adding a little bit of water to it to water it down to allow me to be able to flick it onto my page. I am using just a water brush there. I couldn't find any of my paint brushes at the time, so I've just used that to do that. I'm now running through the space background with a pierced circle stacks from My Favorite Things, and I'm running my little spacemen from the other day through the Sizzix Big Shot with the matching dies. I've taped them down with a little bit of washi tape just so that they didn't move when I was running them through. Nothing like them moving when you send them through the Big Shot after you've coloured them all up. Just playing with how I'm going to set my card up here. Still a little unsure, as you can see, with little finger movements there. I'm using a pre-made card base from Twiddly Bits. I've cut a, what did we do first? A purple matte, it's just American Crafts cardstock. I've cut it to 12.5 by 12.5. The black I've cut to a 12 by 12, and I've just used my Caterpillar Pro for that. I'm now just looking for a sentiment to use on the card. Using my Lawn Fawn acrylic block for that. Rubbing it on my hands, it's a brand new stamp. Using some Memento Tuxedo Black to stamp that sentiment out. I wasn't quite sure here whether I wanted to use the white cardstock or a little bit of black cardstock that I had sitting on my desk. I'm using the Archival Brilliance Moonlight White there. Now, it's not the best ink to be using for a sentiment, but that's the only white ink that I've actually got. I've now grabbed my heat tool because I did actually not realize that the ink wasn't dry yet, and I did smudge it a tiny weeny little bit, but it actually gave a good effect to the card anyway. I'm just using my Fiskars scissors there to cut a banner into the side of it. I'm using my ATG gun here to apply the adhesive, popping all the layers together. Still fiddling around a little bit. I like to fiddle with my cards. trying to work out where I would like to place my sentiment. I'm just going to attach it to the space background part here, not quite sticking it to the black as I'm still unsure about the background, whether I'm going to add something else to it or whatever. More fiddling, because that's what I do. I found a little bit of scrap paper in my stash, but it didn't quite blend in the way that I wanted it to. So I'm sticking everything down to the space background just while I think about what I'm going to do there. This is when I decide to add a little bit of stamping to that background, to the space background, just a couple of stars, again with that white ink from Archival Brilliance. And I'm going to add some little planets to the background just to make it blend into my card a little bit more. And now you may notice a few times that I've had white ink all over my hands because once again I forgot that this ink bleeds. Well, it doesn't bleed, it smudges because it's not dry yet. But you know what, it didn't really matter on this card because the cardstock was a little bit textured, so it was quite fine. There you go again, see, I just smudged it all over my desk. I've attached all that again, once again with my ATG gun, just cutting off the excess from the sentiment with my Fiskars scissors. Finishing up with a bit more ATG. Placing it onto my card base, and it's completed. That's the front anyway. And then I realized that I need to show you guys the inside of the card. Now, while I was doing all this, my son asked me if I could stamp him some images, so I made him a little colouring in book background. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by, and please hit subscribe if you'd like to see some more videos from me. Thank you.